Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's synastry is between JoJo Siwa and Chris Hughes. Now on the surface, this really looks like a dreamy sort of romance because right now they're all cozy and cuddly and smiley. But once I dove into the astrology and their chart and plugged in the asteroids, it took some hidden turns and there's twists and it's laced with these aspects that I did not even see coming. Now, this is the magical part of their synastry. His Valentine conjuncts her Venus. So here we have a sacrificial love, and that meets her love planet. So she feels truly treasured, and it's really sweet. This is a sweet aspect. And also his Amor conjuncts her Sun and her Valentine. So here is love with compassion and kindness, and it's very romantic and sweet and affectionate. So this is also really nice aspect to have. Now his Juno and Alma conjuncts her IC, and the IC sits at the bottom of the chart, and it's on the cusp that rules the home and the family. So this is where your inner child lives. And Juno is about partnership and commitment, and Alma is a deep heart soul aspect. So she might feel like he gets her at a deep, homey, soul level sort of way, like he belongs in her inner world. It's the kind of energy that can make someone feel like they've known you forever. And it's because of his Alma overlaying into her fourth house, and that's where your home is. She will feel this homey sort of energy from him. Now, his Venus and Ceres conjuncts her Mars in Aquarius. So he ignites her flame, and he ignites her fire in unexpected and thrilling ways. And she feels desired and admired and cared for because of Ceres. And Ceres has to do with nurturing and caring. And also their passion has this sort of quirky and exciting energy to it because of Aquarius. Now his Sappho, which is a highbrow eroticism, is a poetic sort of love. It conjuncts her South Node. And here is there's a deep magnetic pull, but his Ixion is conjuncting her South Node as well. And Ixion has to do with bad boy sort of behavior. And he could be maybe a boundary pusher or immoral in some ways or unruly. So all of these energies, it feels sort of familiar to her, and she's drawn to him in a way that feels destined, and she can't help but feel swept off of her feet when she's with him. I've said before, whatever conjuncts your South Node from the other person, this brings a familiar sort of energy. You're used to it, and it's almost like you think, we've done this before. I feel like I've known you. And this actually could mean that there's a past life connection, and it's a karmic sort of influence. His Pluto overlays into her 8th house. Well, that's a very strong sexual connection. Whenever you have Pluto from the other person overlaying into your 8th house, this brings a sort of, almost an obsession, a sexual pull. And it's really hard to get over someone when their Pluto is overlaying into your house. It's like I said, it's an addiction. And I was confused because I thought, well, isn't she a lesbian? But you know what? Pluto overlaying into your 8th house, that can make anyone change lanes. Also, his Mars is conjuncting her Hypnos. And this energy, he can make her feel completely drawn in, almost like she goes under his spell, and she feels hypnotized by that energy and hypnotized by him. So it's like being in a trance under a spell, which actually coincides with their Neptune and Venus conjunction. And that aspect, that strongly indicates the energies of an unforgettable romance. But there's this danger of over-idealizing the other person and seeing them through rose-colored glasses. And you can actually, but you can't actually see the whole picture clearly when you have a Venus and Neptune conjunction in synastry. Now, his Jupiter conjuncts her descendant. So the descendant is a very important angle in a synastry chart. So with Jupiter here, there's this initial vibe of charm and attraction, and he brings this generous and magnetic sort of optimistic energy, almost like a larger than life energy. In her eyes, she thinks, wow, he really gets me. And she may feel drawn to him in a huge sort of noticeable way, which is what you're seeing right now, because Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. So it magnifies the energies and brings larger than life dynamics into the relationship, especially when it's conjuncting the descendant. So here is where the script flips, because his nemesis conjuncts her descendant and her Sato, along with his Jupiter. So this is not a good energy, because nemesis brings sneaky betrayal, hidden manipulations, and Sato on her side, it adds this sadistic sort of mean-spirited tendencies, and this can show up in a huge way because Jupiter is close by, and and his nemesis is there. So we've got really two asteroids behind, really close to Jupiter, but Jupiter is on the center stage right now. And those asteroids are in the background and they're hiding in the wings, but eventually they will show up. They always do. I've seen this many, many times before, and nemesis always plays out. There's a strong possibility of behind the scenes betrayal, and him bringing out the mean girl energy in her due to Jupiter really close to her Sato. And like I said, Jupiter magnifies whatever it touches. And I can't twist this into something better. So I just have to throw it out there and tell you exactly what the chart is telling me. Now, his betrayal may come from cheating due to his Sedna conjuncting her Lilith and her Mercury. Now, Sedna is also has the energies of extreme betrayal, and usually from men. And with Lilith here, that has to do with this raw sexual energy. So now her Mercury is also in the mix. So she may think there is something wrong, or she'll have the suspicion that there's something going on, there's a betrayal behind the scenes, and eventually she may call him out on it. Now, in the beginning, Jupiter softens this, because Jupiter, with his Jupiter conjuncting her descendant, he's charming, he's attractive to her, and it makes her feel seen and admired. But when the nemesis and Sato energy shows up, eventually, it's going to be a classic bait and switch scenario. Now there's going to be attraction mixed with the risk of betrayal, harshness, or cold-hearted behavior, because her nemesis conjuncts his sun. A very important luminary in a synastry, as well as the moon. But so here we go again with nemesis. And this time it's on her end. This is a double-edged sword. Over time, there's going to be some sort of betrayal. And since it's conjuncting his sun, this is huge. I mean, I don't know when exactly this is going to happen. But with nemesis there, the betrayal, the energy will come out. It's a guarantee. Nemesis always plays out in some way, shape, or form. To add insult to injury, his Grieve, his Humpty Dumpty, and his Vallone conjuncts her moon, another very important luminary. So these asteroids, this will bring deep sorrow. There's a fragility. There's a fragile sort of energy due to Humpty Dumpty. And a brokenness and the inability to fix the brokenness. And it's going to affect her emotionally. And the emotional wounds are going to happen because the asteroid Velan is there as well. And that has to do with, it's a chameleon sort of energy. So he's going to have this, propensity, or he might shift his moods or mirror her feelings or act in ways that keeps her guessing. And it almost has this narcissistic sort of gaslighting energy when Velan conjuncts her moon. So you don't want negative asteroids conjuncting your moon from anybody, because it's going to affect you strongly. The moon is a very important, it's the most sensitive part in a synastry. Now, her Mercury inconjuncts his Jupiter, and that is a classic breakdown in communication, eventually. The inconjunct is at 150 degrees, and it's a blind spot in synastry as well as in your natal chart, but you don't see it coming. And it's kind of those energies that are like in the background. You know that something is there that's amiss, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And it's kind of like putting a square peg into a round hole. There's this disconnect, and Mercury has to do with thinking and talking. And Jupiter is there making the inconjunct, and that magnifies this. So eventually there's going to be some sort of a breakdown in communication. And whenever I see this aspect with Mercury, I automatically think, oh, they're going to end up in a therapist's office if they don't break up right away. But sooner or later, it will happen. And the reason I'm talking about this now is because eventually it will show up. If they decide to get involved further in their relationship, if they decide to move in together, and their relationship lasts for longer than a couple of years, because usually with inconjuncts, I've seen it happen that plays out usually 4, 5, 6 years into the relationship. Right around that time, it does take time to show up. So if they decide to become committed, we'll see how this plays out. But right now, their relationship is new, and it's just starting to blossom. So we'll see what happens. So that's all I have today between these two, and I hope you enjoyed this interpretation. So click the subscribe button to stay in the loop, and like and share to support my channel. Have a nice day.